everybody, I'm Mary.
And I'm Brett.
And we're so glad you get to join us on Menlo Students Online. Whether you're here for the first time or you're returning, we just want you to feel welcome. And if you're here to connect with your life group for the first time, go ahead and text CONNECT to the number on the screen, and we'll get in touch with you as soon as possible, and we'll get you connected, because even when you're in isolation, even when you're socially distancing, it does not mean you have to be alone.
That's right, and we kicked off Menlo Students Online last week, and we have been blown away by the responses that we've been having, both with life groups, but also interacting on our social media. We even had a group of 6th grade boys teach the leaders down in Saratoga how to use Zoom well to have backgrounds behind their life groups, just to add a little fun to that time together. And as Mary said, separation doesn't mean that we have to be alone, and we're excited to enter into this with you.
Yeah, and honestly, some of us are, we can even be more awesome when we're quarantined. Some of us just let that bring our awesomeness out. So, I don't know about you, Brett. I want to hear some of your hobbies. What are you working on?
Some of my hobbies,
yeah,
wow.
What are you working
my
on
hobbies. Well, you know, I'm Super Smash Brothers. I kind of like that.
For sure.
If you want to play me,
oh
hit me
yeah,
up.
no problem. Yeah, I mean, the other day I practiced getting fully dressed without hands. Took me all day, but it was pretty awesome.
All right,
pretty cool.
all right.
What else you got?
I know we have Emily in Menlo Park was telling us that she is practicing skating in her home.
Oh yeah,
I think we actually have a video
cool.
of this.
Very cool. And well, Lauren from Mountain View, she's been baking her own bread.
Does she deliver?
Yeah,
is it safe
probably
to deliver?
not. Probably not.
Okay.
Afterward, we'll see. We'll hit her up. But
yeah, but I mean, there's so many other things. Mary, I hear you've also been practicing certain hobbies or working on this thing in your own life.
Yeah, I've been spitting mad rhymes. I've been doing some clips that I've been sending you, Brett. I don't know if you've been getting it.
I
you
have
left me on red, so
them.
just not sure. Okay, cool.
I think we actually are going to show one of those right now.
Awesome, let's show it. Yeah.
Corona, to you I say Corona, cause this quarantine got me having mad FOMO.
Well, Mary, the good news is that you are gonna have a lot of time to still practice that.
Yeah, I am gonna be practicing. I'll be sending you more clips, so yeah, just be watching your phone.
Yeah.
So along with feelings of intense awesomeness, there's a lot of feelings actually going on right now. And of course, the big one actually tends to be fear. I remember even just 2 months ago, we were all freaked out from World War III. World War III was gonna happen, and people were focused on that, and now it's this tiny virus, this little faceless thing that we can't really understand, and we don't know what's going on, and it can cause a lot of fear.
For me personally, not knowing what's going to happen or what could happen builds a lot of anxiety and fear within me. And I want you to know that if you are here and you are watching this and you're feeling fear or anxiety, that you're not alone in that. But also that at Menlo Students, one thing we believe is that life with Jesus speaks to and affects every single part of our lives, and that includes this moment in history and what you're feeling right now. In fact, in a few weeks, we are going to be celebrating Easter all over the world. And Easter for Christians is the biggest day of the year. It is a day that we remember the resurrection of Jesus, and that moment is a moment in history that changed everything. And for followers of Jesus, I think one thing Easter gives us is a word that is the most powerful word against fear, and that's hope. There's a story that I've been looking at recently that happened just after Jesus' resurrection, and it dealt with some of Jesus' disciples. And John records this in his gospel, where he's talking about, he says, the disciples were meeting alone, locked in a room. And now the disciples, just to give a little backstory, if you forgot or maybe you're new, these were Jesus' closest followers. They were people who gave up their entire lives, gave up everything to follow Jesus, thinking like, this guy is going to be worth it. This guy is going to change everything. Even a week before this moment, Jesus rode into Jerusalem, and he rode into Jerusalem, and people lined the streets celebrating and praising, like, the king is here, the guy is coming, kind of like how Tampa Bay is doing right now, hearing about Tom Brady.
Yeah, go sports.
You get that one, Mary.
Yeah, sports guys. Totally get it.
But they're celebrating like, this is going to be awesome. Then all of a sudden, everything changed. Jesus was arrested. Jesus was crucified. And all that hope was gone. The person they had given their lives to follow, he was dead. And so John tells us that the disciples were sitting in this room, in this locked room, and they were afraid because of the authorities. They were afraid, thinking, what's going to happen next for me? What's going to happen next in our world? More importantly, could we be next in that? Hiding in a room, afraid. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, very familiar. It's exactly what we're all doing right now. And I think the next part is the coolest part. It says after that Jesus came to the room. He just came, he appeared in the room where his buddies were just hanging out. He appeared and his first words were, peace be with you, peace. He just shows up with his buddies, is like, peace, guys, I'm here. We're like, Jesus, you were dead. It's the one wish that we all have when we've lost somebody or when a tragedy happens, that it could just be reversed, you know, that the person would come back. But it's also the least expected thing, and Jesus just shows up. So in one sense, it's cool. In another sense, I'm sure he freaked everybody out, and his first words were peace. I'm here, I'm with you, peace. And I love this because really Jesus is telling them, hey, have faith. I have overcome the thing that you thought was final, the thing you're the most afraid of, that's death. But Jesus also didn't just expect them to have peace. Jesus said, look at my feet and my hands where the nails were driven through, where I died on the cross. Look at these, I really am Jesus. Even though he busted through all their doubts and their fears, he knew they had those doubts and fears. He knew that they had those expectations. The expectation is that you're dead, Jesus, that hope is gone. And Jesus said, I know that's your expectation. I know you have those doubts and fears, but I'm going to show you I can overcome that.
Yeah, I love that he knows their fear, and the first thing he says is, have peace. Yeah. You can have hope because I'm here. And you know, as we continue looking in the New Testament, we read some letters that followers of Jesus continued to write. And one guy, Paul, he wasn't in the room that day, but he did interact with the disciples a lot and had spent time with the resurrected Jesus, tells us a little bit more about what was going on in people's minds to give them this hope in a letter to church at Corinth when he says this. He says, death has been swallowed up by a victory. Where is your victory, death? Where is your sting? Thanks be to God who gives us victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Paul's telling us here in this letter that we don't have to worry, we don't have to face fear without hope, because the greatest fear of all, death, that has been conquered.
Amen.
And the one who is going to be with us, Jesus, he will be with us. He is the one who conquered fear, and so we don't need to worry because we have hope.
Yeah, and Paul goes on in his letter to the Christians in Rome, and he says, if the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead, it is living in you. It is living in those who have faith in Jesus Christ. And that is so cool to me, because it's not that Jesus is just saying, hey, have hope. I've overcome death. He's saying, you know what? I'm going to give you my spirit that is full of hope and full of love for you, and it will drive you to do courageous things. So tell us how we can make this practical.
Because I know for me, the question is always, okay, how do we actually apply this to our lives? Hope is a very abstract concept. But I think the first thing to take home from this is that we have hope.
Yeah.
We don't have to fear. Pastor Craig Groeschel says that faith doesn't mean that we aren't afraid. Faith means that fear doesn't have to stop us. And I think you can switch the word faith with hope. Hope doesn't mean we aren't afraid. There are followers of Jesus and people who aren't following Jesus all over the world right now who are afraid. That's a part of life. But what hope does mean is that fear doesn't have to hold us back, that we can continue to move forward. And I think one way we can do that is simply by sharing that hope with others. You know, on social media this week and the weeks to come with Menlo students, we are sharing ways that you can connect with others and share that hope. We're going to have daily devotionals that you can look at. But there are a lot of other ways that you can share this hope with others. Mary, what could it be?
Yeah, well, along with just having that community online, we really hope that you can create that community at your house, like with the people around you, the people that are closest to you, that community of hope. Spreading that love that Jesus has put within you by maybe offering to take out the trash, to walk the dog, to do those things that are legal and safe that you can do for the people closest to you. Also, you know, there's a friend of yours from church or from school who needs to hear from you. And there's a lot of ways to reach out. Like Brett just said, So reach out and spread that hope that you have within you. And I just want you guys to know our prayer for you is that you will not live in fear during this time, but that you will live out of the hope that Christ put within you.
Well, right now, you guys are gonna head off to Life Group to continue talking about this a little bit more, and we look forward to seeing you next week.